Hello, welcome to Introduction to Databases and SQL. In this session, we are going to understand steps to connect to database using JDBC. Let's begin. We have understood in the previous session what is JDBC, uh, what what are the different things which are required for environment setup. That means the database itself, and we have chosen MySQL, and then JDK, Java Development Kit, that is for Java. So JDK is already installed and we have checked that we have Java 17 and JDBC driver. And the driver we have downloaded, that is a type 4 driver, and we have configured to our application in NetBeans as well as in Eclipse. Now understand the steps to connect to the database. So the overall process we can actually divide into 5 steps. We can understand into 5 steps. So few people will say in 4 steps or 6 steps. That doesn't matter. But the process involves these kind of phases. So now I am making them as 5 steps to connect any Java application with the database using JDBC. So they are as follows. The first thing what we need to do is we have to register the driver class. Of course, we have configured our driver in our project, but we need to register that in the program as well. So we need to register the driver class, appropriate driver class. If it is MySQL, MySQL driver class. If it is Oracle, Oracle driver class. Later, the second step is we need to create the connection. So in order to create the connection, so we have a method called getConnection, which is available in a class called driver manager. Then we can create statement. So statement is one interface by using which we can actually issue SQL commands. And executing queries is executing the queries which we have issued actually. And finally, the connection that we have established must be closed. Okay, so each step we will understand here. Firstly, registering the driver. In order to register the driver, we need to make use of a method called forName, which is available in a class, Java class called class. CLASS, capital C. This class is available in java.lang package. And in that class, we have a forName method, and we have to give us our driver name. What is the driver name? So the driver name for MySQL, the type 4 driver for MySQL is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. But this works only up to MySQL version 7. MySQL version 8 and more, you need to add something else over here. So com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. We have to say CJ, that is a connector Java. Okay, so from 8 and above. So since MySQL also now acquired by Oracle, so Oracle actually made this change. Class.forName com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver if the MySQL version is greater than or equal to 8. If it is less than, CJ is not required. Okay, the point here is we need to use this forName method of the class and we have to tell what is the name of the driver. Okay, and then second thing is creating the connection object, that is nothing but establishing the connection. In order to establish the connection, we have to make use of one class from the JDBC API. So, JDBC API, which is available as part of java.sql and javax.sql. And there are several classes and interfaces. And there is one class called driver manager. This driver manager has a method called getConnection, a static method getConnection. So driver manager.getConnection. And we have to give the address of our database and what is the database name, what are the credentials to connect to that particular database. If you see here, driver manager.getConnection, and there are 3 strings. The first thing is actually about our database management system. So where my database management system server is running, MySQL server is running. Okay, further there will be URL string. So JDBC : MySQL : /. the server is running in localhost in the same machine, and colon, and MySQL runs by default on 3306. The port number is 3306. Okay, and here, of course, I need to mention slash my database name also. So in MySQL, you will have several databases, right? So in the MySQL which we are using, we have old database, MyDB is there, SampleDB is there, Sys is there. Fine. So there are so many databases. So we need to tell specifically which database we are going to connect. So slash database name also. That will be the first string. The second string will be what is the password. So is it a root or is it any user which you have created? That user you have to mention. And what is the password? And that password also we have to give. Okay, once this get connection method, the parameters are passed, it will return us a connection object. It will return us a connection object. So this connection object is actually we are naming as con. This connection is an interface which is again available in JDBC API. Fine. Yeah. So now let's move to the third one. So that is creating statements. Once the connection object is available, we can actually create a statement on the connection object so that we can issue SQL commands to the database. Okay. So in order to create a statement, we have create statement method. So this method has to be called on connection object. So con.create statement. And it is going to return as a statement. The statement object is ready. Now I can actually pass my SQL queries. Okay, so the create statement method of connection interface is used to create statement. Of course, we have three kinds of statements. The simplest one is the simple statement. This is again an interface. Of course, we have prepared statement and we have callable statement. So those two we will see as separate sessions, one on prepared statement, one on callable statement. So out of the three, the simplest one is statement. You can straight away create this statement object by calling create statement on the connection object. And this statement object is responsible to execute queries within the database. Execute queries in the sense to pass our queries to the database. This is the third step. And coming to the fourth step. So once statement object is ready, now you can pass the queries. So now like this, statement.execute query, select star from employee. Or statement.execute update, any update query like insertion, updation, deletion. So these are update things. And you want query command, so you have to say execute query. Now, of course, we have execute also. Whenever I want to execute a batch of statements, then I will go with execute. So there are three methods which can be called on statement, and our queries will be now sent to the DB for processing. Once this query, whatever you have given, is executed, you will get some result back. If it is a query, a select query, then I will get a set of records as a result, right? So that I have to store in another interface object that is called result set. Again, it is in the JDBC API. So for driver manager is a class, connection is an interface, statement is an interface, and result set is also an interface which is to hold the results of the select query. And if you have update, delete, and insert, then result set is not required because those DML statements will not give you the rows. They will just update and they will tell you how many rows are affected. Whereas the query command will give you a table of records back, right? So for that, you require a result set, and that result set contains the rows and you need to process. So that's why this step is actually executing query and processing the results. So how do you process? So whatever the result set object is there, that result set object has several methods. Next method is there, previous method is there, absolute method is there. So next method points to the first row or the first record. By using next, I can actually iterate overall result set. And while iterating, I can actually get the data by giving the column numbers 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, column names also. rs.getInt of, for example, SID. rs.get get string of s name. So SID is an integer, I have getInt method. S name is a string, I have getString method. Otherwise, I can pass column names also. rs.getInt of SID, rs.get string of S name, like that. So this is the processing result. And finally, once you are done with your operations, then we can close the connection object. Otherwise, your database is open. So con.close method we have to call on the connection object so that it will get closed. Right? So these are the 5 steps through which we can actually connect to database using JDBC. Registering the driver class, for that you require class.forName. Then creating connection, you require driver manager and get connection method. Then creating statement, you require connection object and create statement method, which will return you statement object. And for executing query, you require a SQL query to be passed using some of the methods of the statement interface like execute query or execute update or execute, which is going to return you a result set if it is a query. And then if it is select query, you will get a result set. Then you have to process it. And finally, we need to close the connection. Okay, this is the theory. And this we are going to see in a practical manner. And before that, let me actually show you the steps once again. Yeah, first one is loading drivers or registering the drivers. And we need to do like this class.forName com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. So this is my first step. So these steps one has to remember actually. And the driver names also you should remember. And second is establish the connection. For the driver manager.get connection, and you have 3 strings: URL, user, and password. Your URL is actually where is your MySQL server and which port it is running, what is the database name, and then user is username, password is the password that we have to pass. And upon success, it will give you the connection object. Then we can say whether connection established or not. Later, so we can create a statement on the connection object. And by using this statement, we can actually execute queries. So execute update for any DML. For any DML like insert, delete, update. And even for alter and create also we require execute update. Only for query command, only for the query command, that is a select command, you require this execute query. And of course, we have execute also, that is to execute stored procedures or functions, otherwise a batch. And finally, we need to close the connection. Now let's actually do this in a practical manner. So let's actually go to the MySQL. So let's see. So this is my MySQL, and I'm going to see what is the database I'm selecting here. Select database. Okay. Yeah, this is sample DB. I'm into my sample DB, and let's see the tables here. Show tables, and I have 2 tables. Now let me actually select star from book, and these are the book details, and select star from account. Select star from account, then I will have the account details, right? So this is my database which is ready, sample DB. Now I would like to connect this sample DB and fetch these details actually. Let's see how we are going to do. So now I'm actually going to my NetBeans, and later if you wish I can actually go for Eclipse as well. So this is the project which we have created, JDBC demo, and here in my source packages I have my JDBC test. This is the class. So now JDBC API is available as part of java.sql.star, and we have imported that, and we have not used any of these, so that's why it is saying unused import, and we will use it now. Okay, so what are the steps to connect to the database? Yeah, before that, ensure that your jar file is configured. Fine. So now let's actually write the steps. The first step, what is the first step? Loading drivers, right? So let's do this, loading drivers. So how to do for that? So you have the class.forName, and here you need to know the name actually. So what is the name? com.mysql.cj.jdbc. Yeah. So if you don't know what is exactly this driver name and etc. So in NetBeans, you have the way to know it actually. So now you have already connected to the you have configured actually here. We can configure new connection, and we can say this one is there already. and let's follow next, and then which database you want to connect. So for example, I want to connect to sample DB. I can actually test connection. Okay, so I didn't give the password, so it's not allowing me. So let me give the password also. And now let's test the connection. Yeah, so username is root, password is root, and you can see connection succeeded. You can see connection properties here. Okay, of course I can actually show you there. So next, and I will have the connection for sample DB as well, just like an UI actually. So here I can actually see all my sample DB and all these tables, account and book tables. So if at all you want to know about driver and connection strings, so just right click here, ask for properties. Now you can actually see what is a driver class. So the driver class you can actually get from here, com.mysql.cz.jdbc.driver. You can actually copy this. Okay, you can copy this and you can paste over here straight away. Okay, that's the usefulness in NetBeans. So class.forName com.mysql.cz.jdbc.driver, and yeah, I'm getting an error because whenever you load a driver, so we don't know whether that is supported or not. So that's why what we do is we will actually use throws keyword, throws exception. So every exception is actually being thrown. Okay, so just we need to say throws exception. Let's remember like that. So this is loading first. Second, establishing the connection. This is important because you have to give so many parameters here. Establishing the connection. So how to do for that? You have the driver manager class. So driver manager class get connection, and you have to pass the things. What are all you need to pass? So I need to pass a string URL. So what is the URL? Okay, so the URL again, I can actually copy from here. Right click here, go to the properties, and you can actually see this is the sample DB I want to connect, right? This is the database URL. Just click on here and go up to copy up to this. Copy up to the sample DB. Let's close this. Yeah, so this two things only I want. Either you can remember or otherwise you just copy from here. Okay, that's it. Then, yeah, what all I require? Three strings, right? So one is the user. What is the username? So let's say that is uname for me. My username is actually root only. In fact, my password is also root only. So pwd is actually a root. So both username and password is root for me. Yeah, so these are the parameters. Now what I do is I will actually pass them with my driver manager get connection, and that is going to return a connection object to me. So connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection, and here I need to pass the URL. The first string is URL. Straight away I can write all these things here. Better is you put them into strings and keep over here. Yeah, so now connection is done actually. Now what I can do is I can check the connection. Okay, if con equal to null, if connection equal to null, connection equal to connection not equal to null, that's better. Connection not equal to null, we say s out system.out.println connection established. If it is not null, the connection is established. Else connection failed. Okay, so till that moment we can actually check actually. Okay, loading the drivers and establish the connection. So we can actually check this. Okay, so now let me save this and let me click on this JDBC test and let me run file. Okay, if the connection is proper, I will get connection established, right? So whatever we have written, it is coming up here, right? Connection is established. Okay, so let me now see. I have added apostrophe and I should see the apostrophe over here. Yeah. Connection establish. Exclamatory mark. Okay. Yeah. So that means everything is fine. So my driver is fine. So it could able to map to this particular MySQL connector J, and my server is running and the port 3306, and there is a sample DB. My username and password are proper. So connection got established. So what is the third step? What is the next step actually? Okay, the next step is creating the statement. Okay, so where is my class is closing? This is my class. Okay, I have this one. Yeah, this I missed actually. This is the class end. Okay, fine. So I thought actually I didn't close how my program is running, but yeah, so this is just got hidden. Okay, so let me some sure. Okay, so best thing once whenever something like this will happen, so you can actually click on reset Windows and everything will be fine. Yeah, so it got reset. So let me now go to my JDBC demo project and let me run. Here I will see my the console also coming up and connection established. Okay, fine. That is good. And then let me increase the size actually here for my NetBeans window. Fine. So let's go to third step. So connection established. Now the third step is going to be create statement. Create statement. So creating statement is easy. Creating statement is easy. Just we need to call the create statement method on the connection object. Okay, so let's do that. So statement st equal to con dot. So you have so many methods actually. So con dot create statements. On connection, you have so many methods. Con dot create statement. So statement is created. Okay. Uh, the reference possible null pointer. Yeah. So as of now, statement directly we are assigning actually. So that's not a problem. That's kind of a it's not error actually. The statement st is not used like that they're telling. So we can use it actually, not a problem. Okay, this is the creating statement. So statement is a simple statement. Of course, we have prepared statement and callable statement. Now fourth actually is execute queries. Execute queries. So how you are going to execute the queries? Okay, so for that, so now what we do is we are not doing any update statement. We are going to retrieve the data. So which data? So I have in the sample DB two tables, account and book. So let me actually retrieve data from accounts. I have 5 rows over here. So let me retrieve that data. So how I am going to do that? Okay, so that is going to be like this. So you need to say statement dot execute query, and query you have to write. So now let me actually write a query. So string query equal to, so what is the query that you want? So I want to select everything. Select the star from account. So I connected to sample DB, and in the sample DB I have account table. So I want to select everything from the account. String query equal to select star from account. Okay, so now what I do, because it's a select query, it is going to give me a result set, records, 5 records, right? So results at rs equal to statement dot execute query. And what is the query? So my query is there in this particular query string. This is the query I am passing over here. Results at rs equal to statement dot execute query. Now I need to process actually. So this is not the step. This is the process of executing query. So process results. So how you are going to process results? So for that you need to have the rs object. So I will say while rs dot next. Okay, so here rs.next. So here I am going to retrieve each and every field of the table, going through each record. Okay, so for that I am actually using few methods. System.out.println. Okay, so in a line I am printing all of them. So what are different fields I should know about that actually? So here in my account I have account number, account balance, account type. Account number is integer, account balance is a float, account type is string, right? So integer, float is nothing but double in Java, and string. So what I need to do over here is rs dot yeah. So first thing what I'm going to get is rs dot get int. See, rs dot get int of, I can say 1. So column start from 1. I'm giving some space after that. And then next is rs dot get double actually. Okay, so get double because balance is a double value. And I'm going to give the column numbers. And then I'm giving some space and I'm saying rs dot get string. Rs dot get string, and I'm giving the column number only of 3. So I just have 3 columns. Otherwise, I can actually mention here column name also. Get into of account number, account balance, etc. So that's it. So these are processing results. Once results are done, now I just need to close this connection. So con dot close. So this is my 5th statement or 5th step. So close the connection. Yeah, so that's it. So we are done. So loading drivers is the first step, establishing the connection, then creating the statement. Yeah, then executing the queries and processing the results and closing the connection. So now I need to get all the data from the account and I'm going to display here in my application. So let's see whether it's happening or not. And it should run actually and should provide us 5 records. Yeah, so you can actually see this. Yeah, connection established, and I have the account number, account balance, and the type, account type, right? One is integer, another is double, and this one. Fine. So in fact, we can actually get that metadata also, the table header actually, the column names that is using result set metadata. So that we will do as a next thing actually. So this is how we can actually connect to a database. So the same program, what I do here, I just copy this. Okay, I will go to my Eclipse, and in my Eclipse, so here, yeah, so I have copied everything, right? So let me put everything over here. Okay, so let me, okay, so I have written here in JDBC, so I should have one package statement here. So in my Eclipse, you need to create a package. So here my JDBC test was in JDBC package, so that's why I need to write that package. The same program, java.sql JDBC test, same name, and the same thing over here as well. So here what we do, instead of actually getting from account, let's actually take from the book. So let's see from the book what are all fields we have. In the book we have book ID, book name, price, and other. I think price is double, so let's actually see book, DESC book, so we'll understand the structure. Yeah, so price is double, first is integer, then 2 are strings actually, right? So now I would like to get that. So select star from book. So first get int, second is get string actually, and third is price, and again this thing. So now this is going to be the third one. This is going to be fourth one. My second is actually again a string here. So what I do here after that, I will have plus rs dot get string and get string of 2. After this, I'm going to give some space. That's it. Get integer, then string, then double and string. So that's how it is organized, right? So first one, book ID is integer, then book name is string, then price is double and other is a string. The same in the similar way, what I did, I have made my result set. First one is integer, then second is string, then double and then string. Fine. So now let me actually run this also. Let me save this. Now here, from here, I am going to get the book details over here. Yeah, you can actually see. So get int that the book number, then book title, then the price and the author. Fine. So it's working. So both IDs, it is working. So this is how we can actually connect database using JDBC, and one has to remember these steps: loading drivers, establishing the connection, create statement, executing the queries and processing the results, and close the connection. Okay, so we will see more of this database connection, DML things, CRUD operations, and providing column names, understanding with metadata. So many more things come up. So are they to come up? So we'll see them in the coming sessions. Hope you have understood. Thank you.